This week on Arizona Illustrated, Coach Adia Barnes on motherhood.
Self-care for yourself as a mom always comes last. And that's just real. And I think that women aren't real when it comes to this stuff.
Making Tucson a better place, one cat at a time.
I've dedicated my life trying to solve a problem that is not anywhere close to being solved.
And the journey of a young aspiring blues musician.
Tucson will always be a home, and the community will always be something that I hold very dear.
Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. We're here in front of McKale Center, the home to University of Arizona men's and women's basketball. And you know, in 2019, women's basketball broke attendance records here. And for the first time ever, they played before a sold-out crowd. And last year, they came within one win of a national championship. The team is led by head coach Adia Barnes, who's the third winningest coach in school history. We sat down with Coach Barnes not to talk about the game, but to talk about something else that's near and dear to her heart, and that's motherhood.
Adia Barnes and the Wildcats will play for the national championship.
I always teach my players to be the best version of themselves, so I have to model that. And you're not trying to sell something, you're just being authentic and true to yourself. So I think on the outside, everything always looks perfect. And it never is. You never know what someone's going through. And I think for women, I think it's hard sometimes because we wear so many hats. But we're women's basketball, and the years of women coaching is the years they're childbearing. We can kick ass at both. It's one of the hardest jobs you'll ever have, and to me, that's doing more than what a typical dad does. I do see the double standards, but you know, I'm a mom, I'm proud of it. I'm glad to talk about it. I announced my pregnancy like on a Monday, I think at my radio show. I had just announced it because I just passed the first trimester. So I announced it on a Monday, and then I have like the miscarriage on like a Thursday. So I was carrying a baby for 7 days that had passed away. So that was kind of like, oh man, you know, that was a hard moment. Going for surgery on a Thursday, Friday night I have to coach. And so I remember sitting at the game a couple minutes, I'm like, you know, wanting to break down, like, why am I here? Like, I'm just had a miscarriage, like, I shouldn't be here. But then, like, my team played their hearts out. They were just like, they knew something was wrong. They didn't know at the time what I went through, but I think they knew something. And so they just played hard. We weren't gonna lose, we were bad that year. We weren't gonna lose that game. And then on the Saturday was my birthday, and I had 150 people at my house for an alumni event. So like, I didn't really have time to even grieve, and then like, I just smiled, whatever, and then Sunday coached again, and just kind of didn't ever really take time off. So there's like 150 women. I talked about the story, but in an intimate setting to all those women. And then there was women like crying because so many women in the room have gone through that. And I didn't really understand how many people have gone through that. I was just sharing my story as a working mom. And then there was a writer in the crowd there. So then it became public for that. But I didn't care. I was kind of like, it is what it is. Like, that's what happened. Women across the country and like across campus, they'd come up to me crying like, I went through the same thing. Like so many women had like, and no one talks about it because it's a hard thing to talk about, but it's like so common. Of like, this is real. And like you, probably in that room, when we sit in this room as players, I bet you half of them will go through it. And so I think that's another thing I do for the players. They see behind the scenes stuff, and then they see me put on the face out in the public, and I think that's something they can learn to be resilient, because it is hard balancing all those things, but if it's easy, it's not worth it. I was scared to death. I was like every day, like, okay, am I still pregnant or not? Like, it was scary. I was 43, turning 44. There was a 5% chance to get pregnant. Like, I was like killing it. I was getting in shape. I was like, I'm getting my body back. I'm gonna start looking good. I lost 25 pounds. Like, I threw away all my chubby girl clothes, and then was like sweating in the game. I was like, why am I sweating? And then found out I was pregnant. Took like 4 tests. So I was like, oh gosh, like I am deathly ill. Like this probably is not gonna happen. So could not tell anybody. It was like sick, but the girls knew something. I was eating like sauerkraut, and then like honestly, COVID hit, and I was able to hide. So it was the best thing for me because I was just starting the show. Because at this time I was like 3 months, and I honestly didn't tell people till like 5.5 months. And I told people on my friend's radio show, I don't think I would have sustained the pregnancy because I would have been traveling all over the world. And I would have been every day on a plane, not resting. I don't think at 44, it was only a 29% chance I would carry to term. And so she was like my miracle baby. So I got it. So like when I look in the mirror and I'm like I look at the Final Four games, I'm like, Adia, you need to get in shape. Like you need to be a role model. And I look at my baby, I'm like, I would have gained 500 more pounds. Like I don't give a damn. Like it'll get there and I'm okay. I'm 44 with a newborn. Like I'm doing my best. So after my daughter was born, like the day that she was born, in the hospital I got preeclampsia. So it's very common older, and it's very common African-American women. But I remember I was in the hospital, and I just thought like, because I'm 44, just had a C-section, I just thought I'm struggling right now, I have a headache, everything's blurry just because I'm older. And then they did some testing. I had like such high blood pressure, I could have like had a stroke. And so they didn't let me out of the hospital. So in the hospital, monitoring it, they let me go a couple days later, but then I had to stay kind of on bed rest. Obviously, I did not. Had to measure my blood pressure like every, 3 hours, extremely high. So that's why when I started getting on the Zooms all the time, it was like stressful stuff. They were like, you can't do that. And so I did some, but I didn't do them every day. So I kind of had to take a step back. I obviously wasn't going to talk about it. So I took like 3.5 weeks. After a month, I went back, started to miss like a week or two of practice. But I just sat more at practice, so they didn't know. And it went away after like 4 or 5 months. But it was a long time and it was hard. Like I still check it sometimes, but no one ever really knew except for my husband. So I'm trying to do a better job of balancing that and take care of myself. But the reality is right now I'm not capable of doing that. The self-care for yourself as a mom always comes last. And that's just real. And I think that women aren't real when it comes to this stuff. It is what it is. And it's a short period, it'll pass. Normally, I would pump right before the games, so then during the games, I'm not in pain. Like those of you that have pumped before or breastfed, you know, like after a couple hours, your boobs are like up to here and you feel like you're like gonna explode. So there was media obligations before the game, so I didn't really have time to pump. So I went through the game, I was like, oh, I'll be okay, because I was like, I'm so stressed out, I'm probably not gonna even have a lot of milk, because it was a stressful moment, you know, the biggest game in my life. And so during the game, I remember feeling like, ooh, I don't want to like have my shirt wet with milk in front of 5 million people or more. So I was like, I need to pump for 5 minutes at halftime just to kind of relieve the pressure and just real quick. So I go in there and pump while I'm talking to my staff. They were used to it by then. Boobs everywhere all the time. And so I walk out and I was like kind of late. So Holly asked me a couple questions. She didn't know, obviously I didn't tell her. And then someone was like, yeah, she came out really late. So I think someone behind me in our organization said, yeah, she had to pump. And then I go out there, and then later on I found out she said it, and I wasn't mad. She said I didn't really care. Like I wasn't embarrassed about it. I was just like, I have to do it, sorry. But it's not something I wouldn't have told anybody. But that was my reality, so it like went viral. I didn't even think it was that big of a deal. So I just was like, yeah, like everybody has pumped, and like, I didn't even it didn't ever register. I was more worried about the milk on national TV. I wasn't worried about the pumping part. I was more worried like, I do not want wet stains here. I would like die. I think that it made it real. So many women talked about it. I'm like, wow. So many women have gone through that, or they haven't had a place to do it, or they've been in a crunch and need to do it for a meeting. So it was so relatable. And so I think that was good that we just brought attention to it. It makes me feel good that, like, I think that I attracted some audiences that probably wouldn't have watched. So I think that was cool, and I think it was cool that, like, I brought recognition to stuff that I didn't even know, like, it needed that much recognition. So, and it's cool that people chose me to be a voice, or if I can help, like, the next woman, or help someone accept, like, their assistant, let her breastfeed, or let her go and pump for 20 minutes. I think that if I'm supporting women and helping change, then I'm happy. Like, it's a blessing.
In Pima County, more than 100,000 feral cats live in urban and rural areas. And for over 30 years, Clara Lee has trapped, spayed, neutered, and released thousands of these felines. And her connection to cats goes beyond the strays. She houses dozens and continues to find ways to interact with these mercurial creatures.
Hi, Gary.
Yes.
Hey, it's Clara Lee. I'm in your backyard.
They're in there to the
this,
left.
This shit. Okay. Hi, babies. Hi. Make sure I got all of them. And I saw a few others, and I brought some extra traps. If you want them, might as well while I'm here.
Put them everywhere. Put them on the roof. Put them in the kitchen, whatever, just anywhere.
Okay. I had 14 kittens that I picked up on Saturday. That it is this time of year where we get dozens of calls a day. I mean, I have to admit that I've been doing this for over 3 decades, and there are times when it can be kind of frustrating and discouraging to think that I've been doing this for this long, and we still have a pet overpopulation problem. Hi there.
Are you going to keep the cats?
We don't keep them, but we spay and neuter them and vaccinate them against rabies. But
Why don't you kill them?
we don't kill them because it's considered
Or
unethical.
kill that son of a He
Okay.
feeds 40 cats every day.
Well, that's.
Smelling my dumpster. I have to pick up cats all the time.
I'm sorry. That's not the service I'm offering,
I'd
but
like
I am
to kill
help-
the damn things.
Well, that would be illegal.
Smelling my garbage cans.
Yeah, the community cats are very, very controversial. They're people that would just prefer them be euthanized. Clearly, we don't see that as an ethical alternative. TNR stands for trap, neuter, release. So TNR is pretty much the only thing we've got at the moment. Nobody wants to see cats off the street more than people working in humane societies, but it's just literally physically impossible to take in every stray cat and try to tame it to find it a home. One of the reasons I like working with feral cats is they sort of walk this in-between line of animal rescue and wildlife. There are cats that are maybe the same genetic cat that we have sitting at home, but they're generations of just wild living on the street cats. So they're really just as wild as any bobcat, and to try to take that cat in and make a pet out of it isn't altogether that enjoyable for you or the cat. But this is a problem that humans have created, what with human sprawl and the invention of dumpsters and trailer parks, and we have given them a really good breeding ground, and they have really taken advantage of it. So we take them and we spay them, neuter them, vaccinate them, give them any medical care that they may need.
What about people that house them? There are companies that take in,
Right now, because it's what we refer to as kitten season, every cat rescue in Pima County is full.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. I really don't know what the deal is.
It's a frustrating situation,
It's too
right?
bad that, fix them does help, but there's just, how many can you fix?
Well, thank you for coming over. We're doing our best.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is my house, and I can introduce you to, this is Mash. He kind of almost has that ocelot kind of look, doesn't he? So this is Twinkle. Twinkle came in a trap and was spayed. When I first brought her home, I couldn't even pick her up without her biting me. Come on, bud. You can see his back legs. His back legs are actually backwards, but he gets around great. He's a happy dude. One of the main reasons I bought this house is so I could convert this into what I call the cat apartment. It's got a mixture of friendly and ferals. Most of the ferals that end up with me are usually here because they either have a medical reason that they really should not be released back out into the wild, or there really is not a safe place for them to go back to. Almost all of the animals that live here would be dead if I had not intervened. This is Sadie Rose. Hi, Sadie. I wanted a pig, and so I adopted her from someone who was trying to rehome her just because they'd had some life changes. I usually jokingly say if the cats are healthy and they don't have anything wrong with them, then they don't need to be here. So this is Ghostface Killa. He's a fecally incontinent cat. He's always kind of leaking poop, but he's a lovely, wonderful, sweet cat. It's just really hard to live with a kitty that leaks poop. But I had the ability to build this enclosure. So now he lives out here. This is Itty, a cat that loves to mark absolutely everything. Very difficult to have as an indoor pet, but the majority of the cats out here are feral. There's always shade in this enclosure. Yes, it is hot, but feral cats are also used to living outside. If you are a fan of feral cats, this is a feral cat lover's dream. So Professor X was found in a dumpster when he was just a few days old. My husband had passed away just before that, and my husband was suffering from brain damage. And so he thought he saw cats a lot, and he would ask about the cats, and sometimes he would be petting an invisible cat. And when he was in the hospital for so long, there was never a therapy cat to come visit him. I thought, wouldn't it be neat if I could train a cat to be a therapy animal, and then we could go visit people in hospitals and hospice. And so that's what we did. Professor X started hiking with me when he was a baby, simply because he was a bottle baby and needed constant attention, and I was hiking a lot. So I was like, well, you're just gonna have to go with me.
Like, what type of cat is that one?
He was found in a dumpster in South Tucson when he was just a baby. And both of these guys came from feral cat trapping sites.
They have diapers.
She doesn't have control of her back legs or her bowels. She's a happy, happy girl, though. She's just the happiest kitty. And then this is Hawk. He was born with no front legs.
Oh my gosh.
Strange as it may sound, walking your cat on a leash seems to be becoming more and more popular, not just here in Tucson, but worldwide. People want to be able to give their cat the opportunity for that, you know, that stimulation, that entertainment that we give our dogs by taking them for walks. So more and more people are starting to hike with their cat, camp with their cat, take their cats for walks on leashes. I learned about other people here in Tucson that do that. We formed our Arizona Trail Cats, or our Tucson Cat Hiking Club. Do you want somebody? There you go. What draws a person to do whatever it is they do, whatever they are passionate about? It's just something that you feel, that makes you feel like you have a purpose, and it's special for you, and it's meaningful to you. There's something about felines and their energy that I am drawn to, and we have a connection, and I think they feel it as well. There are lots of highs and there are lots of lows. The highs when you get to pull a kitten out of a dumpster and it becomes this amazing therapy cat. But it's also very frustrating to realize that I've dedicated my life to trying to solve a problem that is not anywhere close to being solved.
For more information on the Humane Society of Southern Arizona's Trap, Neuter, Return program, go to hssaz.org. Starting when he was a young child, Roman Barten-Sherman played the blues, and seasoned musician Tom Walbank took notice. The two have played together in Southern Arizona ever since. But like all good things, this duo may be reaching an end, at least for a while.
We're doing a outdoors, distanced neighborhood concert extravaganza sponsored by the lovely folks at the Feldman's Neighborhood Association.
Oh, can he, mama? Oh, start no killing me. Oh, can he, mama? Start no killing me.
My parents played the Rolling Stones when I was growing up. But it wasn't until I was 15 and I saw the Maxwell Street scene in Blues Brothers with John Lee Hooker, which is ironically the only blues song in the whole movie. From then on, I got a John Lee Hooker album and then Muddy Waters, deep into it for the next 35 years. Consequently, here I am, you know.
So I grew up in Bisbee. Through some stroke of cosmic fate, our neighbor at the time was a man named Ben Todd. He burned cassette tapes of, you know, great listening material for a kid of that age, like Mance Lipscomb, Georgia prison work songs. I was constantly listening to that stuff in a stroller going through Bisbee, and I think that just like internalized a lot of the sounds of this music within my brain at a very young age.
I was working in 17th Street Market in the music store there.
Roman Barten-Sherman. He's got a blues name, too. And I'm looking forward to hearing Brother Man over here play. Tear it up, bud.
And I was like, oh yeah, I've been told about that guy. He's from Bisbee. And people were like getting hype about him already. He obviously had a passion for it, and I saw that common thing with me, you know. It's like, oh, he's a lifer, you know what I mean? He's in this for the long haul.
I've been incredibly fortunate for many reasons, specifically with my friendship and musical collaboration with Tom Wallbank. When I just came to Tucson and was in middle school, he trusted me enough to let me open up for him at Cafe Passe.
And we did that for many years. He would play first, and then we would do a couple of songs together, and now I would get up and do my set.
Thank you very much. And now to Tom Wallbank.
We took that to Congress, and we did that at Congress patio for many years.
I feel like I've learned a huge amount by just watching him perform, because he's so, you know, just such a professional. I find myself at a loss for words just trying to describe like how locked into it he is.
As he's got older, it's the rhythm that's got better, because he always had the facility for the notes, but the solid rhythmic timing is where it's just like, yeah, he's fully formed now, so yeah.
I'm a stranger here. Stand out in the street. I'm a stranger here. Stand out in the street.
It's funny, it wasn't till the pandemic that we started doing gigs together.
Playing for a couple of songs, so much fun, but when you really get locked into it for hours, different things happen.
We've worked out a way of playing. It's kind of like telepathic thing. You know what they're gonna do on a dime.
And it ain't gonna be long till it rain me away from here.
Tucson will always be a home, and the community in Tucson will always be something that I hold very dear. I'm going to be splitting my time between Tufts University and the New England Conservatory. 5 years for 2 degrees. The program that I'm going to is called Contemporary Improvisation. It's like the only non-jazz or classical conservatory program. So there's a bunch of people coming from different directions, but all of them have a strong, centralized passion for something that they've established a foundation for independently, more or less.
So it's the last time for a while that Tom and Roman will play together. And, you know, and it is. I'm laughing now because I know he'll be back.
In my time of dying, don't want nobody to mourn.
He'll like learn violin or learn piano, and next week he's playing this crazy, tricky stuff. So he's a stone cold musician. So like I said, the sky's the limit after he goes to university. It's definitely a marker in his life as a young man, and it's the next step.
Mr. Roman Barten-Sherman, ladies and gentlemen.
Please give a hand to Mr. Tom Walbank, everybody.
You can listen to the full audio recording of Tom Walbank and Roman Barten-Sherman's set by going to our website at azpm.org/Arizona Illustrated. Before we go, here's a sneak peek at a story we're working on.
Arid and semi-arid regions in general, and specifically here in the Sonoran Desert, surface water resources are really scarce. And they're becoming increasingly scarce as we move forward into the future. And that's because we have urbanization, we have more people living here, using up these water resources, and we also have changes in precipitation patterns.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara, and we'll see you next week.